Hi, I'm Fran Harris, and I want to share 3 things that you need to do this year to make this your absolutely best year. In fact, these are 3 things that you must give up to make this year a record year. You ready? Number 1, you must give up fakery. Yes, I made up that word, fakery. That's all things inauthentic. All things that are not you. No matter how uncomfortable they make other people, you cannot be someone else. So this year, decide that you are going to stop faking it. Don't fake it in your relationships. Don't fake it on your job. Don't fake it in your company if you run your own company. Don't fake who you are. You must give up fakery. Authenticity, being who you are. Now, a lot of people think, well, I'm just going to say whatever I want to say. I'm just going to do it. That's not what it's about. It's not about you bowling people over with your honesty. It's not about you bowling people over with your opinion. It's about you going inside and understanding who you are and being that person, being the person that God made you to be. The second thing you must give up to have a record year is foolery. Yes, Foolery. Foolery. All things foolish. Now, I'm not talking about having a good time. I'm not talking about being wild and crazy and being witty. That's not foolery. Foolery is all things foolish. That means gossip. That means trying to tear yourself down. That means tearing other people down. That means passive aggressive behavior, and you know who you are. You've got to give up the things that don't lead to something productive. You've got to give up talking about people. You've got to give up being a troll online. You've got to give up being nasty because you can be anonymous online. You got to give up saying those nasty things to your relatives or your friends just because you think that it's going to make you stand out a little more. There's nothing cool about that, y'all. There's nothing cool about foolery. And if you're watching one of my videos, it means that you're a person who is very committed to next level living. It's a person who's very committed to success, and it's a person who's very spiritually based. So maybe I'm preaching to the choir here, but as a reminder, foolery does not get you anything but more foolery. Foolery begets foolery. And even if you think you're doing things in the dark, which will be another video, it will come to the light. So be a good person. Give up all things foolish. The stuff that you used to do when you were in elementary school, the stuff you used to do when you were in middle school or high school. You are a grown bleeping person now. Grow up spiritually, grow up emotionally, and let go of the foolery. So that's 2. The third thing you need to give up to have an amazing year this year, you ready for it, is misery. You have to give up misery. Now, here's something that will probably blow most of your hair back. Okay, so a lot of people are miserable, but they don't identify themselves as miserable, right? So they think, I'm fine, I'm having a bad day. You can't be positive all the time. And maybe in your world, that's the way it is. I choose positivity. I choose to look at the lighter side of things. I choose to look at the bright side. I choose the silver lining. So those are all choices that we make. So if I am miserable, if I'm having a bad day, it is because I have chosen to have a bad day. And the reality is, sometimes I do choose to have a bad day. You thought I was going to say that I'm positive all the time? No, but I choose to have more good days than I choose to have bad days. So what's at work? What's happening when we choose a bad day? When we're choosing misery, why are we choosing misery? That's really what this part of the video is about. Because I know that you've chosen certain things, you've chosen certain experiences in your life, and I want to help you understand why you chose those things so that you can make a better choice to have a record year, okay, in order to have a record year. So here's the thing. Why in the world would anyone choose to be miserable? That's what some of you are thinking. Nobody chooses misery. Yes, we do. Now, how many of you, raise your hand, how many of you have had a bad day and you thought that it was about somebody else? Raise your hand, go ahead. I will raise my hand. I thought it was about somebody else until I realized that I was choosing my experience in that moment. So why in the world would someone choose misery? Listen, lean in. Let me tell you this. Everything we do, every choice we make in our business, professional, personal relationships, every choice we make that choice because we are getting a payoff. Let me repeat that. Every choice we make it because we're getting some kind of payoff. So if you are miserable, if you are negative, you're getting something out of it. I don't know you, so I don't know what you're getting out of it, but I'm going to challenge you today to ask yourself, what am I getting out of this? This choice I'm making right now to be nasty, to be mean, to be passive aggressive, what am I getting out of it? Most people who choose those experiences because they think they can control the other person. They choose those experiences because they think they can control the environment. If I walk in here and everybody is happy and I come in being a grump, guess what? Everybody's going to say, well, what's wrong with Fran? Well, why is Fran grumpy? Right? That's why people do a lot of those very immature and very low vibrational behaviors. And maybe you've done that as well. Today, I want you to understand that every single behavioral choice you make because you are getting a payoff. Every single one of them. And when you start looking at your behavior like that, it's one of those self-check accountability things. Right? Recently, I was choosing to have a bad day. I was choosing to see a certain person in my life a certain way, and therefore I was having a bad day. I could not break myself out of this pattern. Every time I would move on, I would come back to this topic and be like, how dare they do this? How dare you do this? Do you know? Right? Sound familiar? That's where I was. And a good friend of mine said, I don't understand why you're choosing to have a bad day. I don't understand why you're choosing to dwell on this topic. It's done. It's over. Take the high road. That's what you normally do. I don't understand why you're not doing that right now. They were wrong. We all know that. Everybody knows it. But you are still harboring this whole conversation. You're still hanging on to this conversation. Why? And here's exactly what I said to my friend. I said, you are absolutely right. You are absolutely right. You're right. I said, that's not what I wanted to hear you say, but it is absolutely what I needed to hear you say. I needed the reminder that at any given moment, I'm choosing my experience. Now, I'm not saying that every time someone does something that offends you or hurts your feeling, or when people do things to harm you, that you're going to always be able to say, oh, well, that's about them, not about me, even though it is. I'm not saying you're going to always be able to do that, but I'm saying that what I've learned and what I've practiced and the discipline I have so that I can have better experiences is that I don't have to be miserable. Misery is a choice. It is an option for you. So you can choose to be happy and well, or you can choose to be miserable and sick. So those are the 3 things you need to give up to have an amazing year. Fakery, foolery, and misery. Until next time, go out there and make your move, make your mark, and make your difference.